So we are starting to approach Christmas about 1 week away, and I know that life can get busy and times can get chaotic. Between shopping, cooking, family gatherings, presents, everything else, it's so easy to put our health goals on the back burner. But here's the thing. We can make small, intentional choices to help us stay on track even during a busy season. So in today's episode, I'm going to walk through some tips about setting intentions specifically for the week of Christmas. And we don't have to do this with the ideal perfection, but how can we start taking steps to be healthier? So if you're listening to this episode and wondering whether having a personal trainer or a health coach could help you reach your goals, I encourage you to set up a free call with me. This is your chance to talk through what's working, what's not, and how to get personalized support to make all the difference. I can tell you from experience that having a coach is a game changer. I have a coach for me, and it helps me with accountability, someone else to see what's going on and things I just can't see. And it also just helps me to sort of stay on track. It gives me that extra little motivation. And feel free to set up a free call, but if you want to wait till after the holidays to work together, that's fine. We can sort of get a game plan in place so that when you're ready and things wind down, we can get you started and hit that ground running in January with those goals that you want to reach. And also keep in mind, this isn't just a plug for me, but you're probably more likely to reach your goals if you're accountable to something. So whether that is coaching or some type of program, you're going to be a lot more successful. And the more success we have, it breeds more success. When we set ourselves up for failure and we start something and we can't continue it, then our brain thinks that we're just going to fail things. So sometimes we don't even start, or we start, but we're not in the right mindset, and then we quickly fail. So make sure that you have a game plan for success for this new year. All right, check the description down below for a link to set up that free call with me. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michelle, mama 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. All right, so I got this broken up today in 5 tips. So the first one is really finding time to fit in stress relief. We so often put ourselves on the back burner, that last thing we want to think about, especially when we're feeling overwhelmed and we just have so much going on, whether that's work, your kids are home, family gatherings, shopping, special cooking, all these different things. It's easy to get overwhelmed and not focus on ourselves and what we need anymore. So we really need to have that time to do those things that work for us. So hopefully you already know some ways that help to provide you with stress relief that you can use, because a lot of times we can sort of drift away from some of the tools or some of the things we need. But we have to go back to when we know things are stressful and when we're overwhelmed, we need to go back to using these tools and maybe even more. So maybe you are doing some now and you need to increase it. So some examples could be deep breathing, that deep belly breathing, going outside, getting a quick walk, listening to soothing music. You guys have heard me talk about tapping. Prayer is also a good thing because it can put your body in that calming nervous system. It can be a way for you help to release things that you're holding on to that you really don't have any control over. I also like to do yoga, also having time to journal. So use those tools and potentially even use them more. So set that as a priority, because the more your nervous system can be regulated, the better you're going to function in the rest of your life. And from a nutritional standpoint, when it comes to stress relief, I have a few products that I'm using. So first is my Organifi green juice that I've been using for almost 2 years now. And that has not only the greens to help with detoxification in our body, but also it has that clinical dose of ashwagandha. So it's a great stress adaptogen herb. And then I also like doing in the evening the Organifi Gold, and I really like the pumpkin pie spice flavor. And this has lemon balm and turmeric. So it's a very calming drink and a natural way to help you regulate stress. And you guys can use the code HEALTHY20 to save 20% and use that code each time you order to save. The other products I've also been using is by Vital Plan. So if you prefer pills, you can use both. I'm actually doing my green juice in the morning, and then in the middle of the day, I'll take 2 of these products from Vital Plan because it's a little bit more of a stressful time for me. We may be potentially moving. There's just a lot more going on. So I'm trying to do the best I can from practical tool standpoint, but also different ways to nourish my body on the inside. So by Vital Plan, I really like the HP balance. Again, this has some ashwagandha in it, along with a couple herbs. So it's an adaptogen to help your body be a little more regulated with stress. And then the adaptogen recovery is a nice one that goes along with it. So it has different adaptogen herbs. Adaptogen meaning it's helping your body adapt to stress. And then I'll occasionally take the Sleep Complete by Vital Plan to help me sleep a little better. So with Vital Plan, I'll have those links down below too, and you can use that code HEALTHY20 to save 20% off your first order. So think of what tools you need to support stress release, and also if you can use any other herbs or things like that to help internally nourish your body. All right, so tip number 2 is prioritize movement and exercise. And this is for people who already have a routine of movement and exercise. If you don't, this is not something that you are going to add this week. But if you have somewhat of a routine where you're getting movement in or walking or doing any type of exercise, I encourage you to really keep that up during the holiday. And remember, short workouts can be effective. So especially maybe let's say you're used to doing 30-minute workouts, but Christmas week is going to get a little more packed. Shorten them. Do 10 or 15 minutes, but keep that in. We get those endorphins. It helps us to feel good. Again, that helps to regulate our nervous system. So doing simple things like still going for a short walk, doing some strength training, or doing yoga or stretching, whatever that is, try to keep that movement and exercise that you already have. And if you need to shorten it, but don't give up on it during that busy week for yourself. Number 3 is decide your non-negotiables with nutrition. So I was just talking with one of my clients in my personal training app about this and really helping her to get clear on what she actually wants for the holidays and what that looks like. Because a lot of times we're just not deciding ahead of time. So we really want to decide what are non-negotiables. So things that we're going to do that there's not going to be an excuse or reason why we're not going to do them. So we're really deciding what's that foundation, what's the basic for us. And I'm going to give you a few ideas to get started. So these are just ideas, but decide for you something that you somewhat have in place. This isn't about adding something new, but it's really deciding maybe something that you have that you're definitely going to stick with, even when there is a bunch of healthy food or treats or cookies or all that around us. So one idea is still starting with a healthy breakfast. So having a good amount of protein, maybe some fiber, some healthy fat. So starting with a breakfast that you know makes you feel good. Having protein at every meal is another good one. And this is especially helpful when you're out somewhere and there's a display of food is how can I have protein? So making sure that you're getting enough protein, this helps us to keep our hunger at bay. It helps with maintaining our muscle and so many things. So this basic non-negotiable can really help us to guide how we're eating at every meal without being super strict. Another one is drinking enough water. So especially as the temperatures are cooler, it can be a little bit harder to make sure that we are drinking enough since we're not sweating as much. So half your body weight in ounces is a good typical goal. You want that urine to look like a very pale yellow, darker yellow, like that morning urine means dehydrated. So those are some ideas of non-negotiables for your nutrition. And it may be something else, but you're deciding, what am I going to do pretty much no matter what? And we don't have to feel terrible if we slept up or if I had protein with every meal and there was this meal I didn't. We just say, okay, and we move on. We don't get stuck. All right, number 4 is creating structure around sweets and treats. So I want you to plan ahead and think about it. So take time to think about what treats do you want? and setting yourself a boundary. Like, we have to contain it because there is so much surplus around us. And we have to do this ahead of time. Because when we're there and we're seeing all these sweets and treats, like, we're not in our rational brain, we're in our emotional brain, and we can't make good choices from our emotional brain, especially when we're seeing, we're smelling, all these things. So if we can decide ahead of time what we want to do with treats, that can really help. So maybe you're going to decide that you're going to have one dessert and it's going to be a small or reasonable portion size. We're not going to say I'm going to have apple pie and I can eat the whole apple pie. But how can we create as much structure? And we want to be as specific as we can. Because when we're not as specific enough ahead of time, that's where things can go a little off track. So think about, what's that structure that you want when it comes to treats. Think about, what's like my favorite desserts or treats, and maybe I'm just going to have that. So being intentional, because we don't want to waste all this sugar and stuff that isn't great for our body on things that we just think are okay. We want to use it on things that we really enjoy, and we want to enjoy it. We don't want to feel guilt or shame for eating a treat. So enjoy it, but be intentional about it. And my last tip here is managing expectations and avoiding perfectionism. So I mentioned this a little bit. So we don't need to be perfect over the holidays or even outside of the holidays. And when we try to be perfect and we beat ourselves up, that's how we actually stay stuck. But when we can come at ourselves with self-compassion and reminding ourselves that it's okay, that things didn't go according to my plan or according to my intention that I set here, that I can just be kind and compassionate to myself and then move on, then you're actually able to move on and get back to doing what you want most of the time. So we want to be able to enjoy the season and to be kind to ourselves, but to be intentional what we want that to look like with our food and our exercise and our mindset. So I encourage you either to write down or open an app in your phone and set some intentions. And then head to my Facebook group, Healthy Beyond 40, and share your intentions in there. That's going to help to hold you more accountable. Maybe share them with a friend too. So we don't want to just set an intention or set a goal and hold it very loosely like, we may do this, we may not. We want to be strong and confident when we set that intention, and sharing it with other people can be really helpful to hold us stronger to it and know that we are serious about that. All right, so I'll put these 5 things in the description down below too. So we have fitting and stress relief, prioritizing movement, exercise, non-negotiables for nutrition, creating structure around sweets and treats, and managing our expectations and avoiding perfectionism. And I just want to talk a little bit more. I think I missed that, managing expectations. I talked about perfectionism. But when it comes to expectations, maybe we have an expectation how an event will go, or how we will eat or drink or move that day, or an expectation of someone else, and they're not living up to it. So we have to be able to get really clear on expectations and what's realistic, and also reminding us that we can't control someone else, so we can't have an expectation for them and get upset when they didn't do what we want, but it's out of our control anyways. So that could be a long other topic, but I want you to sort of keep that in mind. Okay, so create those intentions. And guys, I encourage you to share this podcast with a friend, and let's help increase those around us who are trying to get healthy with some solid information that isn't about diets and quick fixes. So share this with a friend, get clear on your expectations, and make sure you guys tune in next week. I'm going to be having some free meditations up here on the podcast that you can do to help with that number 1 stress relief time. And then we'll be diving into more intentions for the new year. And I'm also going to be sharing more giveaways and sales for January. So make sure you guys stay tuned and that you're on my email list. All right, friends, have a great day.